This fish can be found tailing in the shallows throughout the state of Florida. It's one of the most sought-after inshore species for families and tournament anglers alike. Get ready to hear the drag scream because we're talking redfish here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, powered by Harbor Trucks and presented by Yamaha.
You're watching the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and I'm here with our very happy Strike Zone Northeast Region Captain, Tommy Derringer, is filling in for Rick. So Tommy, you joined us a few weeks ago. How's it feel to be back in the studio?
I'm excited. We're talking about redfish, my favorite fish tonight.
You're jubilating, and I think that's why.
That's why. I won't dance anymore. That's it.
Please don't.
That's it. I'm sorry.
No, you did good. You're always catching amazing redfish up there, sending us your photos, so I'm excited to hear what you have to say about them tonight.
I'm excited to tell you about it.
Okay, well, we have our Starbright. You're my Starbright captain. Dave is not. Dave's at the CCA workbench, so let's go say hi to Dave at the CCA workbench.
I'm not any captain, Starbright.
But you have
a
Starbright bucket over there.
I do have a giant Starbright bucket we're going to talk about later, that's for sure. But tonight we're going to talk about redfish. I'm going to let Tommy roll. I'm just going to throw a question up and let him hit it out of the park.
That's why he's here.
Ready.
Give him a shot.
That's why he's here. All right, catching memories left and right is your captain, Jim Ross, in the Bell Central West region, talking about some big reds, and that's no bull. Take it away, Jim.
Well, you know, that's right, Brie, and I'll tell you, if you like big redfish, the Central East region is definitely the place to be. We've got big redfish year-round in our lagoons. These fish can be pretty smart, though, so live baits or cut baits are usually our best way to go about getting them to strike. Now, we use things like ladyfish, bluefish, pinfish, mullet. Any kind of cut bait like that seems to work pretty good, but, you know, if you like to sight cast, especially when the fish are tailing, you can usually count on a well-placed shrimp to get eaten by one of these shrimp, one of these big redfish as well. Now, Caleb Belizio can tell you that we grow some really, really big redfish here in the Indian River, and I've got a photo of him with one of the 5 fish that he landed with me on the last trip he took out here. This fish was his biggest. It measured 49 inches, and we sight cast those fish with shrimp. Now, the other places that we catch redfish are the jetties in my region. So Ponce Inlet, Port Canaveral, and Sebastian Inlet all hold big fish, and they can hold them year-round. As a general rule, you should fish closer to the jetty on the incoming tides and then work the edges of the tide line on the outgoing tides. And I've got another picture here with Jim Sexton and his buddy that came out with me last week. We doubled up on some big redfish out there at the Canaveral jetty. So there's some big ones running around right now. Our other species right now that's at the jetties is snook, and the Central East region, even though a lot of the other regions get a little more snook, publicity, we have some really good snook fishing here. Sebastian Inlet in particular, the guys down there are targeting snook on the North Jetty with live pigfish, pilchards, and croakers, and they're typically either freelining them or putting them on a light-weighted bottom rig. Up at Ponce Inlet, they're doing the same thing, but up in the Ponce Inlet area, they also get a lot of snook in the backwaters, a lot of smaller fish around docks, mangroves, little cuts and creeks. So anytime that you're looking for snook, we have got them here as well. Now, Turkey Creek, Crane Creek, and the Ogallie River lately have been very good for snook on the Indian River side from Melbourne south. And if you like throwing lures, the Rapala Twitchin mullet, the little subwalk, or the Assassin Didapper that mimic a mullet always work really well in all of these areas. Now, offshore, we're going to swing out there. We're not going to swing too far, though, because tarpon have moved into my region. Right now, they're anywhere from Vero all the way to Ponce. We're having an absolute blast with them. All of the captains that are getting out on the beaches and fishing the inlets are just having an absolute great time. The fish are rolling on the surface. If you don't see them rolling on the surface, a lot of times you can mark them on your side scan or your down scan. Now we're using live pilchards, menhaden and croakers and greenies. Those are the best live baits. And my favorite tarpon setup is a conventional reel like the Okuma SLX 10. It's the Solera SLX 10. And I put 30-pound test mono on that thing. I use a 60 to 80-pound Suffolk fluorocarbon leader, and I use a VMC 7385 7/0 or 8/0 circle hook on the business end of that leader. The hook penetrates quickly in the hard jaws of the tarpon, and whenever you get it in there, it hardly ever lets go whenever it locks in properly. So right now, we've got some really big fish. We've been catching fish anywhere from 80 to 140 pounds out on the beach. And then my last species is gag grouper. The grouper bite's been really, really good in the areas from about 180 to 250 feet of water, especially in the central and south part of the region. Anglers out of Canaveral that just fished this FSFA Slam tournament last week, they brought in a bunch of gags, and many of those fish were over 40 pounds. So there's some giants out there right now. Now, the secret to getting those big fish to eat is to get your bait past the red snapper that are holding on the same reefs and wrecks. So large baits, anything that the snapper can't eat easily, are really what you want to use for the grouper. So bigger the baits, bigger gags, less likelihood of catching red snapper. And I want to say a couple of things real quick before I go. One is that if you are looking to catch a giant redfish in the next couple of weeks, all the way until about October, the Central East region is a place to be. Come here, book a guide, or bring your boat. You can find these fish on the flats yourself. And two, good luck to you, Brie. I know you're due next Tuesday. If that tide starts rolling out on you, and you feel that, you feel that little baby starting to come, let it go, because we'll all enjoy seeing you back on the show whenever you are a mommy again.
Thank you.
We really wish you well on that.
Thanks, Jim. I'll definitely let it go.
Thanks, Jim. Awesome report as always. Here are the sea sucker hotspots for the Central East region. Inshore, tarpon along the beaches and at the inlets. Use live croakers, pilchards, or pogies on a 7/0 VMC 7385 circle hook. And offshore, gag grouper on the 27 Fathom Ridge or the cones. Use live croakers, grunch, or pogies on a standard bottom rig.
All right, Tommy, no matter what you're fishing for, the Keys has it, and redfish are no exception. So, Captain Randy Tao, one fish, two fish, tell us about the redfish and the bluefish, but redfish mostly.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. Our redfish around here, the Flamingo area especially, has always been our go-to fish with plenty of them around. But, lately, the last few years, you can pick your reasoning why it's been a little spotty. But, some say the fresh water, some say the algae bloom, some say water salinity. It's a combination of a lot of things. But we still have the redfish back there. Now, you got to spend a little time looking for them. And the fishing guides out of Islamorada really earn their keep and their pay when they can take you and target them, because they know what's going on. They know when to be on the flat, what tide, what area, what zone. So it really pays if you want to have a good day of red fishing. Nowadays, the best thing to do is get with a guide. Captain Benny Blanco is one of the best in Homestead. He has got them dialed in. I think every time he goes, he has a good day of red fishing. I go, I can't find any, and I used to catch a lot of them. So the timing is really critical, and a lot of it is sight fishing up on the flats and along the shorelines, which is primarily where guys like to fish for redfish, because it's a great fish to sight cast to. You can also catch them along the beaches. We catch them on, in deep water and dirty water on live baits, pilchard, shrimp, a pinfish on a 3/8 ounce jig head is one of my favorite. You could catch a snook or a redfish in a lot of these places. Captain Richard Black, a young guide out of Islamorada, the Lorelei Marina, was telling me a week or so ago when we had all that bad weather, the red fishing in Flamingo was fantastic. Everybody was tarpon fishing, so there's not a lot of pressure on the redfish right now, and he got into them really good, said he had a great day. And also Captain Brian Williams with Serenity Charters out of Angler's House Marina in Islamorada. Brian catches everything. One of his favorite is snook, but he catches plenty of redfish. And he sent me this picture with his angler Ryan the other day with a backcountry redfish they caught.
Nice, Randy. Tell me about the tarpon.
The tarpon disappeared a week or so ago. Now they've started to come back. They're around the bridges. They're in the backcountry. They're on the ocean. So everybody's happy. Everybody got real grumpy because we thought the tarpon came in early and they left early, but they are making a pretty good showing right now. And the fly guys are really happy because the weather's been nice, the skies have been clear, the sight fishing's been very good, and guys are getting a lot of shots on the ocean with these fish still around. And also the bridges. There's still a good bite around the bridges. Upper Keys primarily. I haven't heard very good reports down south, 7 Mile and Bahia Honda, but certainly up Islamorada Way, Channel 2, Channel 5, Long Key, these fish have migrated back to. A live mullet is working really good. And live or dead and on the surface or on the bottom, however you want to fish it, is certainly the bait of choice right now. The offshore dolphin fishing, we talked about dolphin fishing for the last month, has been really good. And it would just so happens to be a big tournament this weekend, and dolphin fishing got slow. Everybody was excited. That 400 to 600 feet of water, a lot of scattered weeds, but everything's been on birds, and it kind of dried up this weekend. And then wouldn't you know it, Monday, it turns on again and everybody's into them. catching plenty of fish. Not a lot of big ones. 20-pounder right now, 25-pounder is a big dolphin. And there's really no secret. You got to read the birds. You have to find birds, and you got to understand what they're doing, which way they're flying. Are they working? Are they not working? And these are the little tips that make all the difference in catching dolphin. Trolling ballyhoos was what I love to do, and I have my spinning rods ready to go as soon as I get into them. And I have a photo from Captain Pablo Rodriguez on his Contender Bay boat with Slam Time Charters and Marathon. He was out there in his bay boat, caught this 39-pounder with his clients.
It's a pretty fish. Randy, tell me about the yellowtail.
You know, one of my favorite fish to catch. The edge of the reef right now has been quiet because everybody's offshore. So the dirty water, the current has been sitting there, and some of the guys are taking advantage of it. I did the other day, as a matter of fact. And anywhere from 80 to 100 feet. I like anchoring a little bit deeper right now because the fish seem to be bigger. You're going to catch some fish in the 3 to 5 pound range in that 100 feet of water. You want the water moving. You don't want to sit there with no current. It's just going to take too long to get it going, and it's not the right condition. Moving water is always good. Off color is even better. And be patient. Get your chum started and just wait. Just give it 20 minutes before you put a line in the water, and start with one rod, drift it back. And I've got a photo from Captain Mike Biffle with Big Dog Sport Fishing in Marathon and his angler, Jesse Simpkins, with some of the yellowtail she caught.
That's a nice one, Randy. Yeah. Here are the hot spots for the Florida Keys region. Inshore, snook. Fish the incoming tide from Flamingo to the west coast. Fish live bait like pinfish or finger mullet on a 3/8 ounce lead head. And offshore, yellowtail. Look for the current on the reef in 80 to 100 foot. Start chumming and give yourself 20 minutes before you start fishing.
All right, there's always tournaments going on in the Keys, so let's take a look at what's coming up. This Saturday's Veterans of Foreign Wars Fishing Tournament in Key West is a family-oriented tournament offering cash prizes in different divisions. Hosted by the Florida Keys Elks Lodge, this weekend's Ladies Dolphin Tournament is set in the Upper Keys. It welcomes female angler teams to compete for the highest aggregate weight of 3 dolphin fish. Cash and prizes are to be awarded. The Ladies Tarpon Fly, set for this coming Monday through Thursday, is an all-release fly fishing challenge that has attracted many premier lady fly anglers and guides throughout its history. The Ladies Let's Go Fishing Scream and Reels Tournament is scheduled for June 22nd and 23rd in Islamorada. It's a casual contest perfect for beginning anglers pursuing inshore and offshore species. There's a lot of ladies tournaments going on, I like it. And now let's check in with Andy Newman, who has a special event for us this weekend.
Well, hi guys. Friday is World Oceans Day, and we all know how coral reefs are important to the ocean and, of course, sport fishing. For a number of years, the Key Largo-based Coral Restoration Foundation has aided efforts to protect Florida Keys reefs. Friday and Saturday, CRF is staging Coral Palooza. There's activities for everyone. Underwater participants must be certified divers and can help CRF plant corals on Upper Keys reefs. More details at coralrestorationfoundation.org. And of course, information on the Florida Keys is always at flakeys.com.
Thank you very much, Andy. The Key West Marlin Tournament is another tournament we want to share with you. It's set for July 18th through July 21st in Key West. There's over $50,000 in cash prizes, so test your skills in Ernest Hemingway's favorite place out of Key West, the Woods Wall, for blue marlin, white marlin, or spearfish. There's also other fun fish categories, including dolphin, wahoo, and tuna. For more information, go to keywestmarlin.com. Well, Tommy, we are well on our way to a great hot summer weekend with the Northeast region coming up. Definitely hot. But first, we're going to see how Dave Ferrell likes to rig up for catching these redfish beauties at the CCA workbench. Ain't that right, Dave?
That's right. You're going to use a top water, you're going to use a plug or a popping cork. I don't know.
We got so many options.
Going to tell us.
We got so many
options. He's going to
options.
tell us which one to use.
Yes, he will. We'll be right back.
This is jubilating.
Jubilating.
Isn't that what he said?
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats. Always in the game. SiriusXM Marine. Weather, fishing info, and channel surfing. Daiquiri Deck. Sarasota's favorite place to meet. And Sea Sucker. Get pumped.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country.
And this month, it's invoice pricing for everyone.
That's right, you pay what we pay.
Get a brand new 2018 Nissan Titan for only $26,500.
No games, no gimmicks, just hassle-free buying at low, low, low prices.
Check us out now at HarborTrucks.com and enter to win a 2018 Nissan Titan XD 4x4 diesel.
Meet the water's lightest 25 horsepower four-stroke, the all-new Yamaha F25, the new standard and 25 horsepower portable four-strokes. At just 126 pounds, it's got the best power-to-weight ratio of any 25 horsepower four-stroke on the water. With performance that bests the previous Yamaha F25 and features like Yamaha's VTS for precise trolling speeds, batteryless EFI, built-in resting pads, and carry handles, it's the perfect portable power for small boats.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide-and-seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here we come.
Welcome back, everyone. We're now going to take a look at the FWC news and notes. June 9th, the Women's Saltwater Fishing Clinic in St. George Island. June 11th is the Cape Coral PS Boating Course, and also on June 11th is the Clearwater PS Boating Course. For more information, visit myfwc.com. But now we're going to head to the CCA workbench for some rigs and techniques.
Dave, we're going to talk about some redfish here at the Academy Sports Rigs and Techniques, the CCA
workbench. Here we go. You know, I kind of grew up in the Central East region. I went to school over in Satellite Beach High School, and I was a Dolores Scotty for a little while. So the first big fish I caught was a redfish in salt water.
That's a case for a lot of people.
Guy, and then, you know, I had my bass stuff, and I went out with my Zebco 202 and got spooled by a couple of what we called channel bass back then.
Right.
And from then it was history. You know, you got locked onto those things because they're so much fun.
That's the beautiful thing about redfish is anybody can catch them. They're readily available, and you can catch them on all kinds of different stuff.
They eat all kinds of stuff.
They eat a lot of stuff.
They eat crabs and minnows, all kinds of fishes, the shrimp. You know, anything that is lives on those flats in that grass, they're going to eat it. So we got some of the stuff that you like to use when you're out fishing.
You know, this is as simple as it gets right here.
Everybody starts with a jig head.
Right.
And a
this
live
is
shrimp.
just a jig head, and imagine this being a live shrimp.
Right.
Hook them through the tail. You can pinch the tail off, which I like to do to get a little scent going. But this rig right here, it'll catch redfish anywhere.
That's called the fish. I call that the fish finder.
There you go.
I use that. That's what I call it.
Yeah, and you just basically can cast this into a creek hole up by where I am.
Right.
Cast it out on a flat and let it sit, but a real easy rig, and it casts pretty good too. So that's a great, simple, and you can put a mud minnow or a mullet or a shrimp or a dead shrimp. You can put anything on there, and that works for redfish.
Big trout can eat those things too.
That's right.
What else you got there?
Another simple rig, and this is a great setup for kids, you know, and also for tournament anglers use this too. But this is just a simple popping cork.
As many people use that, I've never used those things, and I see people using those things all the time, so I know they're using them for a reason.
They work great. They make some noise, so it attracts the fish over. You can put whatever you want to underneath there. Again, a live shrimp is great.
Probably the best.
Yeah, a minnow or even a soft plastic works really well too. But that catches a lot of fish. It's simple. Cast it out, pop it, let the fish come find it.
Good for kids too, right?
Great for kids. Great for anybody. I mean, that's a great, great rig. Now you're getting a little more advanced here.
Right.
And this is for the artificial guys, the tournament guys. They like to they like to toss these soft plastics, and this rig right here, a jerkbait on a weighted weedless hook. I've tossed this in every redfish tournament I've ever been in, all across the state.
Do you prefer with the weight on the shank?
I like the weight because you can cast it a little bit further.
Yeah.
But you can, it also, when you bring it to the fish, if you're sight fishing, you can still present it real nice and subtle. You know, you can kind of slide it in front of the fish without scaring them, and let it sit, and then maybe move it a little bit. This rig right here will work everywhere, and it's great. But now, going back to simplicity on the soft plastic side, a jig head with a paddle tail. This is a little different. You can just cast this out and just straight reel it in. You don't need to jig it or do anything crazy with this. Cast it out, reel it in, let that paddle do the work.
Now, when you're out there, like where I fish, we have a lot of weeds, so you probably couldn't use that jig head like that. You'd probably have to use the...
You could put a weedless hook on these as well. It works great.
With the paddles too?
Yep. And now this is probably my favorite thing to do, especially this time of year. This is a Rapala skitter walk.
Right.
I mean, the greatest bait of all time, in my opinion. I mean, it's awesome. Redfish come up and smash this thing. It's got a great rattle in it. And again, this works everywhere.
It's my favorite bite in the world, is to watch those things eat that.
Now, it does take a little technique to get this thing going. And, you know, Rapala's, this is a fairly new plug from Rapala. This is the Skitter V, which I also use a lot. It's got a nice little V on the bottom.
Walks a lot easier.
Walks a little easier. So if you're starting out, you know, just starting to try to do the walk the dog type thing, this is a great plug to start with, and it works really well. It's a good size, too.
Yeah, plus it's small. Again, we were talking the other day about having a small profile. I like to have small profiles for my topwater plugs, because they have that mouth is underneath their head, so when they come up, they have to bring their whole head out of the water to eat it, which is why I like to watch them eat it, because I have buried in my head so many times a picture of those big white lips coming up to swallow that plug off the surface.
And sometimes if the plug's real big, they will push it out of the way, so that something this size can be really great for that.
To me, if I'm going red fishing, this is the first thing that I put on all the time, because I'm usually in a search mode. I don't even have a trolling motor on the front of my boat. I don't like to have that. You know, I like to be really, really quiet. So I'm throwing that spoon a long way when I'm searching, and that thing just works really good for me.
You know, especially down where you fish for them at Mosquito Lagoon. You can toss this a mile. It's weedless, so you know, you can bring it through the grass. And this is another just cast it out and retrieve. And they do, man. This is, you know, kind of old school, but it still works really, really well.
But they haven't evolved beyond eating the gold spoon yet.
No.
They still like to eat it.
And you know, this is just real quick. This is some of the new stuff. I mean, that looks like a mullet. This is the same thing, but it's not weedless, but you can rig this weedless as well.
That live target.
Any of these bigger soft plastics.
It looks just like a mullet.
It looks like a mullet. Yeah. So that's they'll eat all that stuff, which is what makes redfish so great.
That's why we love them.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Dave. Appreciate it.
Well, we're learning things over here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, that's for sure. The Star-Trek Central West Region captain is no stranger to catching and putting you on the redfish, which he has done with me many times. So listen up, because he's got your weekend redfish fix. Hey, Paige.
Hey, Brie. Hey, Tommy. You know, as you know, in this Star-Trek Central West Region, the red fishing can be tough. But right now, thanks to all the rain we've had, it's turned the water from gin clear to a more tannic-stained water. And some of the redfish have pushed back out of the rivers and creeks onto the flat, oyster bars, especially in the south part of our region around Woodens Creek, Bull and Turtle Bay. You know, also a lot of quality redfish are being caught in Lemon Bay right now, south of Stump Pass on the west side of the bay. Pay attention to the potholes and the oyster bars around the Mangrove Islands. Also, north part of our region, I'm getting reports of good redfish around Longbar Point and Sarasota Bay, as well as the south side of Manatee River from Azinger's Dock west to Perico Bayou. There's been some oversized reds on the backside of Egmont Key when the winds haven't been so strong that you can get out there and catch them. Live filtered finfish, free-lined or cork have been the best live bait. Or in the lure department, try throwing a saltwater assassin golden brim 4-inch sea shad or didapper, and then 8-ounce chartreuse jig head. Or I heard Dave talking about it, 1/4-ounce gold spoon, weedless, been very productive, as well as helps you find the redfish. When the water starts to heat up in our region, August, September, some of the big fish move in from the Gulf, and they get in nice schools throughout our entire region. I've got a photo tonight of one of my good fly fisherman clients, Tim, of Montana, Florida, with a nice one he got with me the other day, fly fishing.
Nice, Jeffrey. Tell me about the tarpon.
All these west winds, Tommy, the tarpon fishing's been tough. but the guys that are getting out there and putting in our time are getting rewarded with some good quality big fish. North part of our region around Egmont Key, south to Anna Maria, also along the beaches from Longboat Key, south to Casey Key. Look for fish laid up, slow moving in the morning, and then in the afternoons on the back side of the bars. You can cast tree-line crab or threadfins. As the day warms up, you can cork these baits to keep them in that strike zone a little bit longer. Also, guys are doing real well in Boca Grande Pass, but I don't even have to mention that. That's the home of the tarpon. Got 2 tarpon photos tonight. First, the Billy Clyde Alstrom landing one of our fish that we caught in the Connolly Suncoast Tarpon Shootout. And second is the winning team and all their family members, and this is the name of their team, Team Masturbators, and they've won for the 3rd year in a row. By the way, I finished second 3 years in a row.
Nice,
Moving
nice,
offshore, African pompano, fish that we don't talk about a lot in our region, but it's been out there good for the last couple months. It's out there 30, 40 miles. They'll catch quality African pompano. They're holding on hard bottom areas and ledges. Live blue runners or pinfish have been the bait of choice. Don't be surprised if you get a nice gag grouper. Got an African pompano photo of Katie Stasik of DNR Automotive that she got with her stepdaddy, Danny. Species 2 and my final species, red snapper, less than a week till the recreational angler gets a shot at them. It opens and all the buzz is that there's plenty of red snapper out there for the guys. Guys are grouper fishing and catching them right now in as close as 45 feet of water, but it seems like the best area is in 75 feet on out. Live fin fish as well as cut frozen sardines have worked real good. The federal permit holders are already scoring real well with that American reds up to 20 pounds. That's my report from the Startron Central West region.
You know what, Brie? I hope everybody paid attention to Jeff's redfish report because he's definitely a redfish Jedi. He knows what he's talking about. He definitely is.
Jedi.
Well, thanks, Jeffrey. Here are the hot spots for the Daiquiri Deck Central West region. Inshore, big catch and release snook are holding in all the passes from Gasparilla north to New Pass. And offshore, gag grouper, keeper gags on ledges and wrecks in 85 to 100 foot of water off Anna Maria.
Nice, Tommy. Well, we want to remind you about our Harbor Truck Seminar coming up on June 14th in Port Charlotte at 4:30 p.m. Come on out and meet Captain Rick Murphy, Dave Ferrell, and Jeffrey Page, who we just learned is the Redfish Jedi.
Yes.
They will be there to answer all your questions and more, so we hope to see you there. All right, our captains in the Northeast and Panhandle regions are on standby, so we're going to take a quick break. But first, if you want to win a fishing trip with Rick and I, go to our website at FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com and enter to win. That'll be lots of fun. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Swift, Silent, Secure, Bass Assassin, and Saltwater Assassin. The best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. The American Fishing Tackle Company, any fish, any water, since 1958. Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
As close as you're going to get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left. There's no cycle.
When it comes to sail fishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country, an on-site towing and test course, and a team of truck specialists. Come line up every make and model in one location and find the truck of your dreams, or we'll build it custom for you. Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying, and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com. or 2 miles off I-75 in Port Charlotte, Florida.
So remember this, guys. You can help your partner. If the boat ramp's slippery, low tide conditions, be ready with the motor. As soon as it gets over water, we can simply start the motor up and be ready. If the truck starts to slide down the slippery boat ramp because of the low tide, I can stop its forward momentum by putting the boat in gear. The other thing you can remember is at the end of the day, you come out. So many times I see guys standing on the bumper because of the slippery boat ramps, and they're jumping up and down. There's no need to do that if you don't have four-wheel drive and you have a two-wheel drive truck. Guess what? Use your motor. I got 250 horsepower of motor, and it can help me push as we go forward. Let's go ahead, go, George. Then turn the key off, trim it up. It's that simple, guys. Use your boat to help you assist at the boat ramp.
All right, Tommy, I'm not sure if you've heard, but we have an exciting contest with Harbor Trucks. One lucky person will win a 2018 Nissan Titan XD Diesel 4x4, and the winner will be chosen at the end of the year. To enter, like Harbor Trucks on Facebook and share or tag your friends on any post for more chances to win. I mean, Tommy, it sounds like a no-brainer to me. You could win one of these babies.
Yeah, I want to win one.
Yeah. Well, let's enter.
They're awesome. Rick looked good driving that one, you know?
He did look very good, and it's wrapped really nice too. They do a great job. Love Harbor Trucks. All right, Tommy, I'm used to grabbing the iPad, but I guess I'll just have to settle for a point. Everyone, your Strike Zone Northeast captain, Tommy Derringer. Live, go for it.
We have a great redfish bite happening right now throughout the region. Great time of year. We talked about throwing the top waters and all that kind of stuff. The hotter the water gets, the more they're going to chase those top waters. Now, we catch redfish year-round, and you can catch them in a ton of different ways, not just in the backcountry flats and creeks, but along the jetties, off the piers, from the beach, and just about anywhere you can get access to some salty water. Anglers from the pro level to even the kid who's never fished before can enjoy catching those redfish. In fact, with it being National Fishing and Boating Week, it's a great time. Take someone who doesn't fish that much and let them experience catching a redfish for themselves. They're all over the region right now, and I'm sure they're going to be hooked. The redfish, they range in size in my region from the little guys all the way up to the big 30-plus pound fish we find in the deeper stuff, like along the jetties and bridges. And we have a pretty good bull redfish bite happening right now in the St. Johns River. The creek fishing throughout the entire region has been going off on that low tide lately. All you need is that simple rig I talked about earlier, and I talk about it all the time. It's a live shrimp or a mud minnow pinned to a 1/4 ounce jig head, and then just fish it real slow along the bottom. Those redfish, they're ganging up in the deeper creek bends an hour or two on either side of the low tide. The redfish are also on the edges of the ICW on that low tide as well. Look for the concentrations of finger mullet on those edges, and you're going to find those redfish. Now, if you like to toss a top water or a soft plastic, you're going to want to get out super early in the morning this weekend and catch that early outgoing tide. Now, the redfish are going to be stalking the edges of the grass lines early in the morning for a mullet to eat on that outgoing tide. And speaking of early in the morning, I've got a picture here.
Which is awesome.
This is Steve and his sons Nate and Cam with a redfish that his son Nate caught with me earlier this week. And let me tell you, that was the first redfish those kids caught, and they caught a couple more, and they were pretty stoked, to say the least.
Awesome. Great picture.
Our other inshore species this week is tarpon. The Silver King has started to show up this week across the region. The tarpon are busting pogie pods early in the morning. Just net some pogies and either free line them or fish them on the bottom around those bait pods. There's also been quite a few shrimp boats along the coast, and there's some tarpon already shadowing those shrimpers. You can sight fish those fish by watching for fish eating the bycatch on the surface. There's some big ones out there, so you might want to beef up your tackle to a minimum of 40-pound braid and 60-pound fluorocarbon leader. Speaking of big ones, I got another picture here. Captain Chris Herrera took this photo of a big tarpon that my 5-year-old daughter Avon and I caught this week fishing behind the shrimp boats. And
That's
that
my
was
favorite picture I think you've ever
that
sent
was
in.
awesome, man. That was a great experience.
Cool. Good for you guys.
She was pretty excited about that.
Out on the water. Good for you.
Now moving offshore, kingfish. The kingfish bite has been really steady this week, both on the nearshore wrecks and the live bottom out of St. Augustine and along the beach as well. In fact, there's been some bigger fish caught this week in the 30-pound range right off the beach. Slow trolling live pogies has been the ticket, but you can also troll a bigger Rapala, X-Rap, or spoon. Captain Rob Bennett from coastalfish.net tells me he's been catching a lot of fish on the downrigger, but most of the action up top is picked up this week. Look for those concentration of pogies along the beach, and that's probably where you're going to find the kings. Also offshore, amberjacks. I spoke to Captain Bo Hall from the Mayport Princess in Jacksonville, and he tells me that the amberjack are showing up in better numbers this week. Captain Bo said he's catching the amberjacks on live baits like pogies and grunts, fishing wrecks and ledges in 80 to 100 foot of water. He said sometimes he's going to chum them up if he needs to, if they're not fired up, and he also gave me a little insider tip that works great for him. He said if there's no current, he's going to hook those live baits behind the anal fin where there's a lot of current, or when there is a lot of current, he's going to hook them through the lips. And sometimes for him, that makes all the difference in the world to get that bite. And I've got one last photo here. This is 3 of Captain Bo's younger clients this week with one of those big amberjack that they caught aboard the Mayport Princess.
Nice. All of your photos this week have kids in it.
You know,
I love it.
We got the kids show coming up pretty soon.
We got the kids show in Brie's life coming up.
You do.
You
have a serious kids show coming up.
I do. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Since you take your daughters fishing now, and I'm about to have a daughter.
Yeah.
What is like the number one way to fish with kids? Like how early do you take them out? What do you like to use?
You can take them out as early as they want to get up, but that doesn't, whenever they're ready. Yeah, whenever they're ready. But you start with something small and easy to catch, something there's a lot of, even if it's a little pinfish, mangrove snapper, those are great fish. Something that's easy to use a popping cork so they can watch it. That's always exciting. They love to watch the cork, even if it's not moving, they love to pop it.
That's true.
All that kind of stuff. Make it easy for them.
And constant action, right?
Constant action,
So
which is not always easy to do, but that's a great idea.
Great idea. All right, thanks, Tommy. You want to go to the hot spots?
Here are the hot spots from the Northeast region. All right, inshore, flounder on the last couple hours of the outgoing tide. Target small runouts and creek mouths near all the area inlets. And offshore, those kingfish on the nearshore reefs and wrecks out of St. Augustine, as well as along the beach. Slow troll that live pokey.
All right, let's go on up to the Yeti Panhandle region where Captain Pat Deneen has a surprise for you in store if you plan on hooking up to a red this weekend. Right, Pat?
Hey, Brie, yes, I guess so, I do.
Yes, you do.
The fall is actually probably some of the best red fishing in the Panhandle, but right now there are some really consistent red fishing going on throughout the region. To the east, Captain Sean Chalker of Bar Hopping Charters over in Indian Pass. He has been catching plenty of slot redfish by targeting the grassy shorelines on the falling tide. And Sean's casting topwater baits, bass assassin paddle tails on jig, and also gold spoons. Closer to home, Captain Jordan Smith here in Fort Walton Beach. He's been targeting the residential docks using live shrimps and minnows on a slip sinker rig. And Jordan reports that pretty much any dock that you've caught redfish at in the past are holding redfish right now. Plenty of slot redfish in the 18 to 20 inch range. And then also in Chattahoochee Bay, Captain Josh Nelson. He's been doing real well on the bigger bull redfish on the incoming tides by targeting the deeper channels using cigar minnows and herrings. So really, wherever you are in the Panhandle, if you want to find some redfish action right now, fish structure with some depth along the shorelines, or fish grassy shorelines, paying particular attention to points and tidal creeks. And there's a lot of that type of environment over in the West Bay and North Bay areas of Panama City. And there's a photo of a really pretty fly redfish caught on a topwater bait in Apalachicola with Captain Sean Chalker. And then staying inside, the speckled trout fishing remains real strong. The fish are on the grass flats in 3 to 5 feet of water throughout the Panhandle Bay systems. Spotty bottom flats with a mix of grass and sand or grass and mud seem to be the most consistent. What you want to do is drift or trolling motor that area. When you get a bite, stop the boat. Either drop your power pole or drop an anchor and fish that area thoroughly. Chances are you're going to get plenty more bites once they quit biting and move on. I prefer to lure fish, either throwing soft plastics or a jig head, or also a midwater twitch bait does well. But a lot of the guys, especially the charters, they like to live bait. They're staking out and chumming with liveys while free-lining some hook baits. The menhaden are around and pretty easy to find. They're great for chumming and live baiting, but if you can find some pilchers, they're definitely the preferred baits. Either way you go, lures or bait, there's some nice trout being caught with some well over 20 inches. And then moving offshore, it's a great time to do some bottom fishing, either catching groupers and snappers. The gag groupers, they open the first of the month, and there's some really big copper bellies being caught out of the Destin area, and also some nice scamp. They're catching them on natural bottom and wrecks in 150-plus feet of water. Fish close to the bottom with a slip sinker rig, a stout leader, and a heavy drag, and a strong hook. The gags and other groupers, they're real well known for quickly finding their home and rocking you up, so it's important to get them off the bottom as quick as possible. Use live or butterfly baits like white snappers, pinfish, and mingo snappers. A butterfly jig dropped to the bottom and then just bounced right off the bottom. It's deadly for the gags and scamps as well. And there's a photo of a really big gag grouper caught aboard the Unreal out of Destin with Captain Justin Destin.
That's a monster. Tell me about
Tell me that thing won't bend a rod.
Yeah. Awesome. God, that's going to hurt somebody's back there.
And then finally offshore, the snapper fishing remains extremely good in federal waters. Plenty of red snappers and big mingos are being caught. The red snappers don't open up in state waters until June 11th, but the mingos you can catch in either state or federal waters. To target either of them, the red snappers and the bigger mingo snappers, use a smaller live bait on a Carolina rig or use a 2-hook chicken rig baited with cut bait, either squid or herrings or cigar minnows. Fish natural bottom in the wrecks and don't fish right on the bottom like you're targeting the groupers, but bring it up 15 or 30 feet. And there's been some nice snappers being caught, the red snappers in the 18 to 25 pound range.
Nice, Pat. Hey, I got a question for you.
Yep.
So, you talked about state and federal waters. Tell me, elaborate on that for people that don't know what that means.
The Gulf, on the Atlantic side, I think it's 3 miles, 3 nautical miles. On the Gulf side, 9 nautical miles to the shore is state waters, 9 nautical miles and beyond is federal waters, and there are different rules and regulations for state and federal waters. And like I said, right now, the federal waters, 9 nautical miles and out, are open for red snappers. 9 nautical miles and in are closed, but on the 11th, they'll be open in both ways.
That's great, Pat. You need to know that if you're going to be out there, so thanks. Here are the blue water outrigger hot spots for the Panhandle region. Inshore, hit the residential dock lights at night with live shrimp or minnows for big speckled trout and redfish. And offshore, stick with the red snapper in federal waters using live baits on Carolina rigs.
I like red snapple. That's good
Snapple.
stuff too.
Yeah.
That's all good. All right, we've got a little bit of the Southwest region and a little bit of new product segment coming up with Dave and our friends from Starbright. So Dave, why don't you give us a little sneak peek over here?
This smells like blue snapple. It's like blueberry.
Blueberry.
But I don't do blue food.
I
would drink this probably.
Boat.
It smells that good.
All right, well,
I wish
we'll be
my
back
boat
with
smelled like
blueberry
this.
smelling products.
Blueberry. It can, for sure.
Blue
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. For all, for less. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Soft Science, Supreme Comfort Footwear. Real Legends, exclusively at Bell's. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, and Pathfinder.
Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 offshore 4-strokes. For those that like their V6 lighter, faster, and stronger. Setting new standards for power, efficiency, speed, and lightweight. Built for the rigors of offshore boating. Packed with Yamaha's legendary reliability. And now Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 4-strokes offer a choice between digital or mechanical controls to match your rigging preference. Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
Yeah? Stop working right now! Look outside. Is this spreadsheet weather? No, it's not. This is fishing weather. So stop clicking, get out there, and catch a bass. Stop what you're doing and start fishing Rapala Ripstop.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Visit us in store or at academy.com for the guaranteed lowest prices. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
Dave, like always, we got some cool new products to talk about.
What we got a lot to do. Let's get right to it. We're going to start off with some spinning spoons. These are from New Concept Lures. What's really cool about this, it's a spoon with a spinner on the back of it, and he's used this double walled heat shrink to put that swivel on the back of that hook, so it's not going to go anywhere. It's got, he's got 3 different colors. He's got silver, gold, and this copper color. They all have a nice swivel on the front too to keep your line from spinning up. I think it's just going to add extra. Oh, I forgot. It's got a nice rattle in it too. He puts a rattle on the underside.
There's a lot of fish attracting stuff on that.
A lot of stuff going on for a spoon. But anyway, New Concept Lures. He's been working on that thing for 10 years, so check that out. New Concept Lures, the spinning spoon. Now this is really cool. This is from Starbright. This is the auto odor eliminator, the car bomb. And what it does is it goes in there and destroys the odor. It doesn't cover up stuff. It actually takes the odor out of the car, and it uses a chlorine dioxide vapor, and it goes all underneath the seats, kills all those French fries and stuff your little kids are leaving in the back, the chocolate milk. You could put that in the boat. If you got a stale boat, you can throw that dang thing down in the salon of a boat and let it sit in there for 4 to 6 hours and let it do its thing. If you put it in a car, after you leave it in your car for 4 to 6 hours, you open it up, run your air conditioner, close it real quick, let your air conditioner run for 10 minutes, and it cleans out all the odors that are inherent inside your air conditioner.
And I can attest this works. My dad has keeps his kayak in his
cigars,
van, and we did this, and man,
mold
it
and
smelled
mildew
brand new
smells.
afterwards.
And,
it was
and
amazing.
again, it's not a perfume. It takes the stuff out, kills it dead. So
it's great, and it works.
The Nose Guard Auto Eliminator. Now, next thing we got, Bill's going to come in here, Bill Lindsay from Starbright. He's going to show us, Father's Day is coming up, and we're all tired of getting that nasty tie or the aftershave or the shaving cream warmer. I gave that to my dad one time. I don't think he ever used it. But now we got this cool bucket at Academy for the Father's Day. What do we got in this thing?
This is the ultimate boat care kit.
It's an awesome bucket for straight off.
It starts off with a Mac Daddy bucket. Look at that.
There you go. Don't worry about it.
Look at this. You got a rope handle, so it's easy to carry. Go trick or treating with that.
Yeah.
Got the little handle. We pour the stuff out. Fill it with ice.
I think I got a rattle in there too.
The truck. There's rattles in there. It holds it. This is awesome. This is just starts, but it comes with all the stuff. You get the boat wash. Extreme Clean cleans anything. Extreme Protected sunblock for your boat. Vinyl Guard. I love this stuff. Leather, vinyl, whatever you got. It's awesome. Startron. I got to show the engine some love. You put that stuff in.
Right.
So this way you give Dad something that he's going to get a lot out of. He's going to enjoy it. He goes down to Academy or academy.com. He's got it. He buys one of these as well.
Yeah,
so because Mom gets in the
there.
truck, she's like, it smells like a 6-pack of dead rats in here.
Right.
You put one of these in there, the smell is gone. Hang in the trees? I don't think so.
Right. So what's the cool thing about this boat wash here?
The blueberry.
Yeah, it is.
Blueberry.
Smells good.
It does
it's
smell good.
biodegradable. Here's the thing. Everybody says, I can go get a gallon of boat wash or car wash for $1. You're buying colored water. This stuff is concentrated. It's biodegradable. It cleans super well without hurting anything. You can wash the car or the truck, the trailer, the dog, the kids, whatever.
Your dog. I could probably use some of that right now.
If you got a hot date, you use that. I cannot vouch for your personal safety because the ladies will go wild.
Now, I use this Extreme Clean all the time because my little dog runs laps around my boat and leaves paw prints all over it. This stuff's really great. It doesn't. What I like about it is it doesn't make everything real slippery.
It's not soap. This is soap. This is chelating agents. Same stuff that's in the non-skid deck cleaner everybody loves. You spray it on, let it work for 30 seconds or so, lifts the dirt off, so you just rinse it right off.
Right. And the Extreme Protectant, that's for like a sunscreen?
This is sunblock for your boat. You spray that on any hard surface or the vinyl and whatnot, and it gives a protective barrier against it. It also adds a little bit of shine too to make the boat look that much better.
And you can put that on even your soft stuff?
Yes, you can.
Your cushions and whatnot?
You can, but I use the Vinyl Guard.
Vinyl Guard.
This stuff for your vinyl seats, for anything plastic. I detail the inside of the car with this stuff. My Harley's got leather bags, get crusty with bugs and whatnot. You spray this stuff on or wipe it off, they look amazing. It's great.
Now
I use it for makeup
now,
too.
the Reggae Mitt is something that I use all the time. Does that thing come in the bucket too?
It does. This bucket comes ready to go. So you got the Reggae Mitt, use it dry, use it wet, wash the boat with it, the truck, the car. The imaginary friend, if you need one, it's all good.
The microfiber really works really well. You don't have to scrub nearly as hard with that thing.
And let me say, we go crazy on this stuff because we use it. So we tend to over-engineer anything. Makes our CFO crazy, but it's the best quality you can get because we use it.
Right. Last but not least, you got your enzyme stuff there. The
Startron.
The Startron.
anything that runs on fossil fuel will run better at this. Guaranteed, end of story. It's going to stabilize. It's going to make the fuel burn more completely so the engine starts easier, runs smoother. You're going to stay with emissions. You run the stuff, your emissions go down dramatically. It keeps everything clean. I've cleaned fuel injectors with this stuff.
And that thing treats 16 gallons from 1 fluid ounce, correct?
Super concentrated. It actually pays for itself.
So where can we find this again?
At Academy or academy.com.
Beautiful. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Go get one of those.
Thanks, Bill. Bree?
Yes, definitely go get one of those.
I know what I want for Father's Day.
Like Bill said earlier, that bucket is definitely the ultimate man purse, so make sure you grab one for Father's Day. The Bell Southwest region is now up with Captain Ronnie Houston, who's going to get you all set up for the weekend. So take it away, Ronnie.
Well, you know, the theme species is redfish, and what we're going to talk about is I've had the opportunity to fish for these fish from actually the state of Florida all the way to Texas, and there's just so many ways to catch them. I'm just going to give you some ways you need to be starting to catch them here in the Southwest region. You know, redfish are mainly targeted on the inshore side throughout the whole region. You know, to the south, you want to concentrate on oyster bars, mangrove shorelines, outer Gulf Islands, and middle bays. But to the north, you know, it changes a little bit. You want to concentrate on mangrove shorelines, grass flats, potholes, and mullet schools. Now, in the wintertime, you really want to be using cut shrimp or live shrimp. So you want to use shrimp on a knocker rig to keep it in place due to the scent to draw the redfish to you. Or you can simply use a live shrimp on a popping cork, popping the cork simultaneously to draw the redfish to the noise and then the scent of the shrimp for him to eat it. But then, you know, the rest throughout the region, spring through fall, you can use cut ladyfish, mullet, pilchards, and plenty of artificials. Topwater skidwalks are really great for locating. A lot of times with the redfish mouth, he might not be able to grab it, but the boil chasing that lure will tell you it's a redfish. So topwater plugs are really good for locating. Gold and silver spoons are great for covering water, casting in all directions of the boat all the way around to cover water, and a 1/4 ounce spoon. Once he goes after and eats it, it's a pretty small bait to catch a redfish on. But then also soft plastics. You know, you can sight cast them in the region at tailors on your lower stages of the tide, especially up in the northern end of the region with the abundance of grass flats, or you can cast a cruising fish, baits like the bass and sass and sea shads, hook weedless for the tailors, or on a jig head for the ones that are cruising, or just simply blind casting the potholes or the grass flats, and always a variety of flies are always good to use to catch the redfish. I'll give you a couple prime examples. I've got a picture of Josh Greer of Westwall Outfitters to the north. There's a nice redfish on fly. And another picture of Kevin Kelly fishing with Captain Brian Sanders down to the south. So those are some of the simple basics to get you started in catching the redfish. Now, on the inshore side, we're still going to stay with the trout now. You want to concentrate right now on Captiva Pass to Ding Darling or Panther Key to Regular Key. Now, both areas you want to concentrate on the outer edges of the sandbar on the lower stages of the tide in depths of about 2 to 4 foot of water using noise-making corks with soft plastic shrimp or paddle tails on the jig head. But then also subsurface lures like the Rapala Twitch and Wrap or the Mirror Mirrodine. Getting in these areas of fry bait is also a plus. Now, I'm going to tell you, the west side of the sound is a little bit cleaner, but on the eastern side, it's really tannic due to all the rain we've had in the last couple of weeks. But I can tell you, in those depths, there's both fish in both those areas. Now, on the offshore side, we're going to talk about the red groupers. They remain scattered right now from Marco Island to Sanibel. Concentrate your depths of 95 to 115 feet of water for good quality fish. Fishing hard bottom is the key, but if the weather is moderate, you want to drift the larger pieces. By doing that, you want to be using cut baits. Are working well, but at times you have to work a little bit different according to Captain Mike Gavanon. He says the Williamson jig has been working well, and it seems to be fishing the cut baits for him. I'll give you a prime example. He was fishing with angler Don Hargrove, who loves watching the show, doesn't miss his episode, and he caught this grouper on a 10.5 ounce Williamson jig. So according to Mike Gavanon, he said the jig is producing better than the cut baits. Also, we're going to talk about the mangrove snappers on the offshore side. Fishing at night right now, fishing ledges, artificial reefs and wrecks, from Gordon's Pass to Sanibel, just simply by chumming to locate these fish. Once these fish are drawn up, don't overfeed them, cut baits, either flatlined or a little bit of weight, back depending upon where they are in the water column. You can catch these fish as close to 7 miles and out to 15 miles. I'm going to give you a picture of a snapper. It's not a mangrove snapper, but it's a red snapper. We're red snapper season just opening up with Captain Mike Gavanon. And the reason I'm showing you that fish is going to be having to do with the hot spots on the offshore side. So plenty of red snapper to be caught also on the offshore side.
Thanks, Ronnie. Awesome report as always. Here are the Colusa cast net hotspots for the Southwest region. Inshore, Snook, Everglades backcountry, Third Bay to Plate Creek, fishing points with current using prop baits, chuggers, and soft plastic jerk baits. And offshore, red snapper in the 120 to 150 foot depths to the north and 130 to 180 foot to the south using cut baits.
That snapper though, that was pretty big.
That was a big old snapper.
Big old snapper. All right, we've got our east and northwest regions coming up on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, so stay hooked. And remember, if you want to keep up with everything fishing in Florida, all you have to do is visit our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us on YouTube, and view and tag us on Instagram. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Startron cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Yeti, built for the wild. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Strike Zone Fishing, your fish hunt paddle store. And Guy Harvey, marine wildlife artist and conservationist.
Real Legends Performance Clothing. Everything you need to be comfortable on the water all day long. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime or go to reallegends.com to find a Bell store near you.
Trucks is giving away a brand new 2018 Nissan Titan XD with the Cummins Turbo Diesel.
To enter, like our Facebook page and visit harbortrucks.com for more ways to win.
With the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country.
An on-site towing and test course.
Hassle-free buying and low, low, low prices.
Harbor Trucks is the place to buy.
Flagler Construction Equipment is your certified Volvo equipment dealer, servicing 55 counties in Florida. With Volvo, you get brute strength combined with bulletproof durability. That means low downtime and optimal production. Flagler Construction Equipment is the partner for all your Volvo sales, service, and rental needs, and your first and last stop for legendary customer service and support. Push boundaries with Volvo. Get to know Flagler Construction Equipment by stopping by one of our 6 locations, or visit us on the web at www.flaglerce.com.
Welcome back. I'm here with Captain Lisa Fitzgerald from the CCA Star Competition. And Lisa, I heard the second redfish was caught and they weren't signed up for the Star Tournament. What's going on?
Exactly, Tommy. We have had a second fish caught, and that was caught in Brevard County with a captain, Captain Troy Perez, and that gentleman was not registered, just like the first guy. They knew about the competition but did not pay attention and think that they could catch a star-tagged redfish. It's heartbreaking, but you know, it's something that happens. Just know you got to be registered.
You know, and you don't have to have to catch a tagged redfish to win a prize. There's all kinds of other prizes too, right?
That's right. There's $500,000 in prizes and scholarships to be won. You can go anywhere in the state of Florida and catch these fish. It's snook, trout, dolphin, grouper, and kingfish. Everything we've been talking about tonight, you can go out and catch non-tagged fish.
And I've heard that there's some regions or some areas that you might want to visit because there's a few more tagged redfish that you can catch?
That's exactly right. Just like these anglers caught these in Brevard County, they are our destination counties, but we also have Charlotte County and Citrus County. So if you're planning a vacation and you want to look, and you want to look for some other fish, you want to definitely go there. They have 8 total tagged redfish, where most of our other counties only have 4. So it's really a great opportunity. We have scholarships, you name it, there's a prize for everything. And you know that Starbright bucket, you can put garbage in that Starbright bucket and win prizes. Yes.
Yeah, so there's something for everybody.
Yeah, there is. Now, you should know about that.
That's right. You know, I actually caught a tagged redfish. I wasn't in the tournament because I actually helped you tag them. But you know, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Anybody can catch it.
Right?
You got to get registered, because I can tell you, it's less than 50 cents a day to ensure that if you do catch one of these beauties, you can win a brand new truck, boat from Contender, Pathfinder, Hughes, Carolina Skiff, or Cottonmouth.
Awesome prizes.
All powered by Yamaha. So there's $500,000 in prizes.
Wow.
Why wouldn't you get registered? It's easy.
Yeah. Now, if you want to go registered right now,
go online, www.ccaflstar.com, and get yourself registered. It's easy. It's only $75 for all summer long, and $40 if you're a CCA member.
So go sign up. If you're going fishing, go sign up.
Go sign up. That's all I can tell you.
All right. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you, Tommy.
Bree?
Yes.
Sign up. Did you sign up yet?
50 cents a day. That's crazy. What do you have to lose? All right. Now let's check in with our East Region captain and see what our weekend fishing forecast is looking like. Mike, can you close in?
Hey, Bree. Well, you can catch redfish pretty much anywhere in my region. The best action takes place in the Indian River, really from like the St. Lucie Power Plant all the way up through Vero Beach. If you're fishing the shorelines, it seems like the docks that have PVC pilings, particularly those on the west side of the Indian River, around Walton Road and Midway Road and Torpy Road, they hold a lot more reds. And I think it's because the reds can pluck the crabs off that PVC, the crabs and the shrimp, and pull it off that a lot easier. You'll also find them on the mangrove shorelines around Bear Point, the old inlet area in Fort Pierce, as well as on the mooring flats around the oyster bars. And in the inlets this time of year, they'll eat crabs that are floating out with the outgoing tides. With all the tannic stained water we're seeing, you want to fish lures that have a lot of gold flash in them, like a gold spoon or like a 14-inch or a 4-inch saltwater assassin shad in gold glitter type colors, that, like a Mama's 14K or a copper juice color. They'll also chase small-sized topwater plugs in that black and gold color. For baits, live or dead, crabs, mullet, pilchards, shrimp, those are all pretty hard to beat. The average redfish in my region is going to be 4 to 10 pounds. We really don't get a lot of the big ones that you see around the state. I got a photo there. That's Bo Johnson. He caught that upper slot redfish around a dock up in Vero Beach, and he was using a live finger mullet for bait. The other thing, the tarpon schools are starting to show along the beaches throughout the entire region. The best concentrations of fish are down in Palm Beach County. That's where the water's been warmer and clearer, making it easier to spot the fish. There's dirty water from Lake Okeechobee runoff that's from Hope Sound all the way up to Stewart Beach. So you want to kind of avoid that zone because it's really difficult to spot fish in it. There's also, this time of year is a good time to fish the inlets, particularly at night on the outgoing tides. Start your morning running the beaches in 15 to 20 feet of water. Looking to the west for rolling fish or the dark objects in the water that indicate schools of tarpon. Once you find a school, shut down a couple 100 yards ahead of the fish. Use your trolling motor to get close. Then throw a live crab or a threadfin or a pilchard. You can also target them with a black and purple pugliese type pattern or a lemon drop fly. Average tarpon on the beach right now is going to be 60 to 100 pounds.
Tell me about your offshore, Mike.
Yeah, the current offshore has been ripping to the north at like 5 knots or more. And that, along with the west winds, has kind of shut down the dolphin bite. But there's still a good concentration of kingfish in 90 to 150 feet of water up northern Palm Beach County. What's kind of interesting about that is it's been a morning and an evening bite. Smaller fish on the morning bite, but bigger fish on the evening, but less fish in the evening. If you can find some Spanish sardines, those are pretty much money on those kingfish right now. Otherwise, target the fish by slow trolling or drifting with live thread fins, blue runners, pilchards, goggle eyes, rigged ribbon fish will work really well. You can fish them on a number 4 wire stinger rig, but it seems like the triple hook monofilament Palm Beach rig is getting a lot more bites, considerably more bites right now. That's what the commercial guys are using. Average kingfish right now is 8 to 15 pounds, but there are some smokers in the mix. And I got a photo of one of those. That's Jake Cross. He caught that 42-pound king on a live Spanish sardine on a triple hook rig, and that fish came out of 90 feet of water. He was fishing with Captain Will Embry. Also off Palm Beach County right now is the blackfin tuna bite. That seems to be the most consistent thing going right now for blue water trollers. The fish have been caught throughout the county in anywhere from 200 feet of water on out, but the best action's been in that 300 feet to 600 feet of water range. It's been better right at first light and late in the afternoon, pretty much like that kingfish fight. You can troll for them, looking for birds, or working the rips and weed lines. You can work some of the artificial reefs as well. Put out a couple of small feathers in pink and blue, purple, black and red, silver. That's a good color. Shotgun them way out behind the boat. Blackfin tuna tend to be boat shy. The larger blackfins leave rig ballyhoo or live pilchards or sardines or goggle eyes. Fish them on a kite if you want. You can also drift and live chum in the afternoon with great results. The blackfin tuna are from 10 to 30 pounds right now.
Nice, Mike. Hey, hook us up with a bass report.
Well, despite all the rain we've had, the water levels have dropped on Lake Toho. To the point that you actually kind of need to be careful when you're unloading your boat at some of the smaller ramps. What's good about that though is those low water levels have really concentrated the bass, so that if you find a spot where you catch 3 or 4, you kind of want to stick around that area. I was talking to Captain Steve Niemiller of Bass Online. He's been starting his day throwing topwater plugs, frogs, and steel shad lures on the edges of the lily pad field, in really those areas that have hydrilla that are right up around the pads, not really in the pads themselves. He said the fish are grouped super tight, so he'll work that until the bite slows. Then he'll switch over to a free line live shiner. There's also been a good number of bass in the Kissimmee grass beds and in the boat trails. Again, look for lily pads and hydrilla nearby. And in a pinch, you can flip the buggy whip. Can't even get the word out of my mouth. Flip the buggy whip with a June bug colored worm for big fish. Average bass, 1 to 3 pounds, with not a lot of giant fish, but plenty of those 4 to 5 pound fish in the mix right now. So Toho's fishing big.
Thanks, Mike. Great report. Here are the Atlas Jack Plate hotspots for the East region. Inshore, tarpon from 20 to 80 pounds in the Indian River at Big Mud Creek, live mullet on circle hooks, or cast a 4-inch saltwater assassin shads to rolling fish. And offshore, mangrove, mutton, and yellowtail snapper in 80 to 100 foot of water off the Juneau Beach Pier. Pilchards, sardines, or cigar minnows on just enough weight to hold the bottom.
All right, Tommy, my all-time favorite show is coming up. Our annual kids show is June 27th at our studios in North Miami. If you and your kids want to be a part of the audience, simply sign up on our website at FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com. We'll have educational and fun interactive stations with games, prizes, and more. Kids of all ages are welcome, and we hope to see you there. You've never brought your kids down, Tommy, but you always put them in your FaceTime video, right? All three of them.
They're going to be on one way or another.
3 of them this time.
I don't know if all 3 will make it, but 2, maybe 2 out of 3.
Bring the baby in.
I'll try.
All right. Lots of tips and tricks coming from Captain Jeff Hageman in the Flagler Construction Equipment Northwest region. So if I were you, I'd listen up and maybe take some notes. They're all yours, Hag.
We've got a great red fishery in my region. Redfish are strong throughout my entire region most of the year round. They tend to school up in the spring and the fall in large numbers. They can be found on the grass flats, around oyster bars, shell bars, docks, passes, and can be caught on a bunch of artificial spoons, jigs, topwaters, great fly, fishing for them. We don't have bonefish in my region, so that's one of the things we chase after as far as tailors go. Live and dead baits work also very well for these. The beginning of the incoming tide is a great time to look for tailors. As the tide gets higher, the fish will be a little less spooky, so as that tide's rising, they'll be a little easier to catch on that higher water. As far as approaches go, a trolling motor, even on the lowest settings, can be, when we get into our schooling fish, can be a little bit too much for them. So keep your trolling motor on low or push pole in. A stealthier approach is always necessary. Make as long casts as possible. And if you're fishing school fish, you don't want to throw right in the middle of the school. You want to kind of throw out to the outer edge, let the fish find the bait, or bring your artificial down the edge of the bait. That way you won't spook the school and you'll have a whole lot more shots. Most of our schooling fish average in that 27 to 34 inch range, and those big breeder redfish that we catch can be found off the beaches on a hard bottom when the kingfish are running in the spring and the fall, right when we get to that about 74 degree temperatures, and those fish can range all the way up to 20 to 30 pounds. And what's going on in my region right now with redfish is Captain Jimbo Keith of saltwater fishing charters out of Cedar Key reports an inshore bite has been a little off because of the rain last week. The redfish are still doing okay on the incoming tide. He's using cut mullet around the oyster bars. Also casting 1/4 ounce and 3/8 ounce saltwater sassing jigs seems to do good on both the incoming and outgoing tides. Moving a little further south, Captain Mario Costello of Tall Tale Charters out of Plantation Inn on Crystal River reports a good redfish bite right now around the Mangrove Islands and Keys from Yankeetown to Crystal River. He's using live select shrimp free line on a 3/0 circle hook on the first half of the incoming tide. The redfish have been anywhere from 20 to 30 inches right now, and I've got a couple photos there from Mario and Jimbo.
Nice.
Nice photos.
What else you got for us there, Jeff?
I got a good snook bite going on right now in my lower part of my region. Captain Mike Anderson of Real Animals out of St. Pete reports that the snook bite has been good on the incoming and outgoing tides, fishing potholes, passes, and swash channels around the beach. That's that little dip in the swash right after the beach starts. He's using scale sardines right now, free-lined. I got a photo there of this Wolfskin snook.
Oh, there you are, Jeff. Looking good, man.
Looking tan.
Yeah.
Tell me about the grouper bite.
We got a pretty good grouper bite going right now in the lower half of the region right now. Anywhere from 75 to 150 feet of water over rock piles and ledges. Fish are being caught on pigfish, grass bumps, cut sardines. Fished on a standard bottom break with a 6 to 8 ounce lead, 100-pound fluorocarbon leader, and a 7/0 circle hook. Staying offshore, Captain Harry Connor of Hook'em Harry Charters out of St. Pete reports the hogfish bite is really good right now. And he's using a light fluorocarbon leader, a 2/0 circle hook on a chicken rig or a naka rig with a small piece of squid or shrimp. And producing some great fish up to 9 pounds. He's fishing those right now over the flat rock bottom and 2-pound legs rock bottom. We don't have a lot of spear fishing in our region, so we don't have a lot of people taking them. So the hook and line bite is getting better and better with every cast year.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Here are the hot spots for the Northwest region. Inshore, snook along the beaches and passes use free-line sardines for bait, and offshore, red grouper seem to be everywhere from 40 to 75 foot of water over any flat rock or live rock bottom.
Woo! Here we go. We're checking in with our Southeast Region Captain next on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. So if this is you, stick around and we'll be right back after the break.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Suffix. Always use the best line. The IGFA. Fish for the future. Flagler Construction Equipment. Your exclusive Volvo dealer. And Okuma. Inspired fishing.
When you're moving a big offshore boat, it's all about thrust and trust. For thrust, nothing compares to the Yamaha purpose-built 5.3-liter V8 Power Pioneer. And for trust, Yamaha's new F350C model becomes the only outboard in its horsepower class to feature a 5-year limited warranty. Never settle for less than complete confidence and control in the open water. That's Yamaha V8 Power. Get the best and forget the rest.
Outside is a bully. There are bears, screaming fleet-footed waters, arrogant mountains, Goliaths, and 100 other excuses to stay inside. But there are ways to deal with bullies.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country.
And this month, it's invoice pricing for everyone.
That's right, you pay what we pay.
Get a brand new 2018 Nissan Titan for only $26,500.
No games, no gimmicks, just hassle-free buying at low, low, low prices.
Check us out now at HarborTrucks.com and enter to win a 2018 Nissan Titan XD 4x4 diesel.
Today's Power Pole tip is about the drift paddle. So guys, so many times when you're out drift fishing, the boat doesn't seem to want to drift in the direction that you want it to go. So we've created the drift paddle at Power Pole, and it simply attaches to the back of your power pole. And by pulling a pin, you can change the angle of the paddle itself. And what this does is it gives you an extended rudder. Now, the other thing that I really like about the paddles is essentially they're like water brakes. I can slow my drift down. Or when I'm bridge fishing down in the Florida Keys and I have the wind and the tide going in different directions, more often than not, I might have a tendency to blow up my anchor rope. Well, guess what? I can put the paddles straight down, use the current to hold me on my anchor rope. The other thing that I like about the paddles is that it really slows my drift down whenever I'm fishing wrecks or structure. So by putting the paddles down, I can slow way down, giving more time in the fish zone. And that's today's Power Pole Tip of the Week.
Thanks, Rick.
You know what, Brie? Those are so cool, especially up by us right now. All those guys are trolling for kingfish.
Yeah.
And you want to go as slow as possible when you're trolling for those kingfish. Those things right there, I mean, push a button and they're down.
Right?
You don't have to put the bag out like you used to. I mean,
yeah, and that's the question Rick always gets is what happens when the wind is going one way and the tide's going the other way. Like, that's perfect.
It's a great tool.
They fixed the problem.
Great tool.
Great tool. All right, last but certainly not least is the Casa Vieja Southeast region with Captain Jimbo Thomas. So, Jimbo, if you're ready, tell us what we can look forward to this hot, sunny, and perfect weekend coming up.
You got it, Brie, and hello, everybody else in the studio there. Well, you know, redfish, they're not a very common catch here in the Southeast region. The best area to target the reds in the region would be the western shoreline of Biscayne Bay from Black Point south to Turkey Point, where there's still a few survivors of redfish left over from the redfish restocking effort that took place sometime, I think it was in the late 1990s. And I would imagine that most of these fish have been caught and released at least more than once. And from what I've heard of, and I haven't fished for them myself, they're a little more spooky than your average red, but most probably because the water's really clear in those areas where we catch them or where they do find them. But just like redfish anywhere else, they'll eat live pilchards, pinfish, shrimp, crabs, jigs with soft plastics, gold spoons, and all the other common redfish baits and lures. But anywhere else throughout the region, redfish are a rare, if not unheard of catch. The only one that I've ever caught in the region was in Snapper Creek Canal, and that was about 2 years ago, so there's not many redfish, unfortunately, here. But what we do have is peacock bass, and with all the rain that we've had lately, the water levels in the Everglades have been rising, and that's been spreading those largemouths out onto the flats, and on top of that, the bugs are getting really bad out in the Everglades. But the peacock bass fishing has been on fire lately. In any of the urban canals and lakes in the south end of the region, they've been producing peacocks that have been averaging anywhere from 2 to 3 pounds, and I've heard of fish up to 8 pounds. Now, there have been big schools of 1 to 2 inch minnows that these peacocks have been feeding on, so you want to try and match the hatch. Look for schools of bait, and then use small live shiners or small rapalas that are in the 1 to 2 inch range that match that hatch, and then they're biting best if you use a real fast retrieve. Now, if you're a fly fisherman, you can use a small Clouser minnow in red or white, or green and white. That's been working really well, and you want to look for clear water with some current, and these peacocks, they're going to bite best in the middle of the day. Now, I got a photo here. This is young William Flynn with one of the many peacock bass that he's been catching in the South Dade lakes. He's been using live shiners, and he's been catching a lot of them lately. Now, moving offshore, all week there's been the dolphin action has been just kind of so-so, and I'm blaming the so-so-ness on the west wind that we've had.
but we're supposed to get some east wind the next couple of days, so hopefully that'll change things around. But these dolphin, and the ones that have been caught at least, have been anywhere from 3 to 15 miles offshore, and you want to look for them around scattered sargassum grass and also any floating debris. Now, most of the fish that have been caught have been in the 3 to 5 pound range, and there have been birds working over the top of them, and we've been spotting those birds with our binoculars, so it makes it easy to spot them with those birds on them. Now, once the fish are located, they've been eating trolled lures or feathers, along with small live baits and cut baits, and the few larger fish that have been caught have been under frigate birds and also around the floating debris. Now, if you're coming in from offshore and on the way in from your dolphin fishing, hopefully you've had a good day. This right now is prime time to stop on the edge of the Gulf Stream and drop some live baits out for some blackfin tunas. Now, these blackfins have been coming, we've been catching them throughout the day, but the best time is going to be late in the day, and if you can find some north current in blue water, that's going to be even better, and that north current blue water has been changing every day. Now, the best fishing has been on live herrings, pilchards, and sardines. You want to fish them under the kite or on flat lines in 120 to 180 feet of water, and they have been biting throughout the day, but if you got some overcast conditions, that's going to be even better. But the best way to get these going is to chum with some live pilchards late into the afternoon and fish just before dark. So the later you can fish, the better your odds of catching these blackfins. Now, most of these tunas have been in like the 15 to 20 pound range, but we have seen some up to about 25, even 30 pounds. We've been fishing them with 20-pound tackle. You want to use a 40 to 50-pound fluorocarbon leader. You can even go down to 30 if you want, and 4.0 to 6.0 circle hooks. And in the past couple days, we've been catching anywhere from 3 to 4 of these blackfins. And now I got a photo here, and fishing late into the day paid off for Jeff Greasy with this 28-pound blackfin that was caught with us aboard the Thomas Flyer.
Nice, Jimbo. You know, Brie, the best tuna I've ever eaten was prepared by Jimbo in Guatemala.
Was it really?
He knows how to prepare those things.
Yeah, a little bit of pokey here.
He does, yeah. It's good stuff.
I believe it. He catches enough of it.
Thanks, Jimbo. Here are the hot spots for the southeast region. Inshore, hunt peacock bass in the lakes and the canals of South Dade using live and artificial baits. And offshore, live chum and fish with pilchards and herrings late in the afternoon in 120 to 200 foot of water for sailfish, blackfin tuna, and kingfish.
Well, Tommy, I believe we have covered all of our regions, but when we return, we're going to tell them what's coming up for next week. So are you going to help me do that?
Sure.
Sure. Okay, well, we'll be cluing you in when we come back, only on the Florida Insider
Fishing Report.
Oh, you're getting it.
Start.
Harbor Trucks is giving away a brand new 2018 Nissan Titan XD with the Cummins Turbo Diesel.
To enter, like our Facebook page and visit harbortrucks.com for more ways to win.
With the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country.
An on-site towing and test course.
Hassle-free buying and low, low, low prices.
Harbor Trucks is the place to buy.
Master your most challenging offshore experience with confidence and ease with Yamaha Helmmaster. Precise, intuitive control on the open seas. Unrivaled ease for maneuvering and docking in port. And now SetPoint adds 3 new dimensions to boat control. Maintain boat position with fish point, or a position and heading with stay point, or a heading while you drift with drift point. Yamaha Helmmaster. Now with SetPoint. Complete digital control for today's larger offshore boats.
When you're paid to put fish in the boat, you don't mess around with the thing that puts fish in the boat. Always use the best line.
Thanks for tuning in to the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram to keep up with our captains, contests, and appearances. You never have to miss a show. You can find full episodes, special segments, and updated fishing reports from your region right on our homepage. Just head to FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com for everything you need to know to stay hooked up.
I smell like meat.
Oh my my goodness.
Gosh.
Make sure to come back next week and check us out because we are talking canoe, kayak, and paddleboard fishing. It's going to be lots of fun. Tommy, you'll be joining us on iPad, right?
I will, but you know what? If I don't see you again before Mia joins us.
I know.
Mia's coming.
She's coming. So are we going to take bets on dates? Because she's
Yeah,
due
I'm thinking-
June 12th. What do you think?
I'll go for the 14th.
What do you think?
I'm thinking about 7 or 8 days after that.
Oh, thank
I want
you
to
so much,
stretch it
Dave.
out for you. I want to make it as long as
Well,
possible.
in that case, I'll be back next week.
That's right. I want you to be making some money. You got to be
Making some
making money. You're going to need it.
I'm gonna need
Diapers.
it.
You got to have her here by the
Cost
kids show.
a lot of money.
I'm getting lots of feedback and tips right now from the dads. What else? What else do I need, guys?
You got to have her bring her in for the kids show. You got to have her here for the kids
I
show.
will have her here for the kids show. She's gonna be super newborn baby,
There'll be a
right?
lot of there's gonna be a lot of nasty little kids with diseases in here.
There's
Just keep
not.
your baby home.
They're all cute. They're
Yeah,
all cute.
they're
We're
all
gonna
cute.
be here. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week, and hope you have a great weekend of fishing.
Yes.
We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Paddleboarding.